How's it going, guys? So we're about to start filling silo, corn silage. I'll lay this plastic out. In an ideal world, this would all be paved, but this worked out pretty well last year. Just laid a piece of plastic out, get a little bit of spillage at the blower, so this way we can clean it up a little. This will be the second year harvesting corn silage into these upright silos. They're 24-foot diameter by 132 feet tall. You get a lot of weight with them being this tall. You want to make sure you don't get it too wet on the bottom, or else you'll have a river of juice flowing out. So last year we got a little bit too dry. This year I think we're doing a little bit better, but we'll see what it looks like. Chopper should be here soon. I think he's gonna have a Krone chopper on demo today. At least that's what he told me last week. So it'll be interesting to see one of those running. If you haven't seen my channel before, up until last fall, we were using these horizontal bunker silos. A little bit quicker to fill. You have to have a tractor to push the feed up, pack it into layers, and then we cover it with plastic and tires. Then last fall, we started up our robot feeding system, which is in that room. We built these silos to go along with the robot feeding system. We were going to need to resurface the bunker silo floors and make them bigger to have enough capacity. We just decided to pivot to these upright silos, and it's been working out pretty well. Our silos are center fill. This camera on all the unloaders. So this is the one we're gonna be filling. I'm gonna start this up a while. Feed's gonna come in the top center, and this will distribute feed into a circle. Don't want to forget to start this up. I figure I'll do it now. We run a field line blower, which is highest capacity, fastest blower I think you can get anywhere. And then they got a power unit, it's 250 horsepower. Pretty sure they bumped the horsepower up a little bit since last year, so they're hoping to put a little bit more feed through it. Just one last check of the silo, make sure all the doors are closed. Unloader's still spinning up there. Wow, look at that thing. So they're demoing a Krone. It's apparently the biggest of their smaller framed units. Big X630. So you gotta get used to this new chopper, so we'll see if you can hit the wagon. Opening up fields, it takes a little bit of skill. Got an 8-row head on it, just like his other chopper. First cart's going in. A little bit concerned that it's not going to be dry enough yet. The outside rows of the field definitely look dry, but then you get into the center and there's more green there. So we're going to see here how heavy the carts are. He said if we're not sure, we could put a sample on the tester and wait 45 minutes, make sure we're happy with where we're at. This outside edge of the field, the stuff looks like it's almost too dry. Then you get back in there 100 feet into the field and it's quite a bit greener. Even less than that, I guess. After this first row, it'll probably look different. I just threw a sample on the Coster tester, get a moisture of this. Moisture can't be above 57% or so if we're gonna keep rolling. Chopper actually stopped for a little bit while we ran that moisture test. It's testing 57% moisture, which is, we're hoping to be right around 55 for the bottom of this silo. It's a little borderline maybe, wouldn't mind it being a touch drier. It's definitely not far off, so they're chopping a little bit more. We're gonna test some more. The carts are pretty heavy, which I'm not sure if that's just because of how much grain is in the silage or if it's actually moisture, or a little bit of both. Here we got some later corn. This stuff looks taller, but it's definitely got some more maturing to do. So I was just gonna look in the silo a little bit, see how it's distributing. Throws it out against the outside wall, so it packs evenly. Took another sample, it was 56% moisture, so we're gonna keep moving. We got about 17 acres of this variety. Then after that, we'll see how the moisture changes. We're moving into the second field now. This field is half of that first shorter season variety, and then switching into this next variety, this stuff is very tall. A lot of this stuff is 12 feet tall. Looks like it's gonna yield pretty well. Hopefully it's dry enough. I'm a little suspicious this is gonna be a handful of points wetter, which maybe is okay, but might be pushing it, so we'll see. We were getting used to filling bunker silos. Knew what to look for to know it was fit for that. Now we're learning these new silos. It's just, don't want to push it too hard, but we don't want to let it get too dry either, so it's hard to know when to get going. cutting into a new section of field back that way. Bringing out another jug of inoculant. The chopper will just dribble in a little bit of this bacteria to help the feed ferment properly, stabilize it. We have a couple different varieties of corn that we're trying to get in the right order. Talked about this BMR corn that we want to put on top. It's called Unified from Brevant. We want to feed this first, so we want it on the top of the silo. This stuff looks like it's dry, but usually holds more moisture in the stalks. As far as our tests go, it's dry enough. We've harvested over 60 loads now. I want them to get to about 70 before we switch over to the last 34 acres of this Unified BMR corn. Just gonna chop a little bit of this. It's later planted, but it was a short season corn, so it's probably gonna be on the wet side, but need a little bit more silage underneath this bit we have for the top of the silo. So we'll see what it ends up looking like. Might be a little bit wet. Every year is a little bit different with the growing season, how things dry down in the fall, how mature the kernels are. You think it'd be a little bit easier to know when it's right to harvest, but we still struggle a little bit. Switched over to the Unified corn now, and the stuff looks very dry in the field, almost too dry, but I think it's about where we want it. A little bit over 9 rings down. There's a lot of space in here yet. I'm back up here checking the silo again. It's been a couple hours. We're getting up here pretty good now. About 4 acres there, give or take. They're gonna cut, and then we're gonna quit for tonight. That'll work. There's another. We got a few more acres. They're not gonna fit in here tonight, so we're gonna quit. It is the next morning. Hoof trimmer's working right now. We got finished up about 8:15 last evening. They put 104 carts in the silo, and then we quit. We're gonna have a little bit more to top it off then. But as you can see there, yeah, we got some seepage, a little bit of juice. It's actually not bad, the bottom third, but up towards the lower middle is where it's coming through the concrete a couple spots all the way around. So yeah, that wasn't really the goal, but I guess we kind of found the line. This was the second year filling these. Last year we were erring on the dry side, and we thought we got it plenty dry. But yeah, we kind of overcorrected a little bit. So we had about 15 acres of that shorter season variety for the bottom, and that stuff was dry enough. But once we got past that, we got into some corn that was around 60% moisture, a little too early. Could have used a handful more days just to let that stuff dry out. It's not ideal, but it's not the first time this has happened to anyone. You can also see the silo gas coming out of the holes in the chute there. Our moisture tester was telling us, at least for the bottom, it was fine. Now this side, there's a little bit more seeping out. But it's not really coming out the lower part of the silo here. It's really just that middle. We threw a handful of loads that were in the mid 60s there before we got into the BMR. That was a mistake. I think some of that other corn right before that, as well as maybe the first of the BMR, is maybe juicing some too. So I didn't really want to show this on camera, but I need to show it because it's the reality. But we don't have anything running away from the silo. It's not that much juice. I don't know, once we got started and it seemed dry enough for the bottom, we thought, I don't know that we want to wait a while, but yeah. So we're gonna make sure we're patient. We gotta fill another silo in a few weeks. Gonna be something coming down the chute, coming around the doors there in the middle of the silo, so probably a little bit of a mess to climb up there when we do climb it. I'm in silo number 1 right now. It has corn silage from last year. Just dropped the door for the last time, so we just have 1 ring to feed out, or slightly more. This is the second to bottom ring on the outside, the service door. 7 to 10 days worth of feed in here. It is now Wednesday morning. Chopping crew is coming back. They're gonna chop that last 8 acres, throw on top of this silo, and then we're gonna cover it. We're gonna hook up our blower so we can run air into the silo after they leave. Looks like the juice is slowing down. I think it could have been a lot worse, so I'm thankful for that. Hopefully don't make a lot more today. First place I see, seems like fluid starts is right in somewhere in there. I don't know, I think some of that top stuff has to be that BMR. It was right around 60% moisture. It looked really brown in the field, but it holds fluid in the stalks. Wouldn't hurt to be a little bit more patient. Next year we're not gonna grow such short season corn because we don't need it to be a lot drier on the bottom, but we need a little bit drier up higher. Less of a gap between the earliest and latest maturing corn would help us a lot, I think. Chopper should be here soon. I'm just mixing up some inoculant. So we run this crop guard. It's got some different live bacteria in it. It's gonna help the feed to stabilize, ferment quicker or better. Brevis, it's not boot and rye, it's a different bacteria. Just leave that in the fridge till he shows up. Oh, he's got the Klaus back again. That last stuff we were chopping on Monday was the exact same variety, planted at the same time as this. You remember how brown that stuff looked? Had a lot of blight on it, disease. So this stuff was sprayed with fungicide and that wasn't. So you can just see the difference. How much healthier that keeps the plants. Stuff is definitely greener than what we were harvesting on Monday. Fuller than I thought it would be. Just has that little corner to do. Should be able to fit it. I shut the chopper down. We're getting full. I guess a load and a half coming. I can stop the unloader from rotating here from the inside. So turn it back on here in a second. I guess now. Not sure that we can go around past this spot again. The unloader catching it there, so pretty satisfied we got our pull. Had probably an acre or two left we could have cut, but we'll let it for later. Yeah, I didn't know, wasn't sure that we were gonna get it full today with what we had left, but man, we're gonna have a lot of feed. I'm pretty happy. Silage isn't so dusty, so it's really not bad in here. We're on the last partial load. I told him to go half the speed, keep it from piling up, and that way I can make sure we put it at the right spot here. Well, glad we didn't chop anymore. Some unloaders have a power distributor. It's something that spins underneath that deflector. I could throw the feed out a little farther. And actually, the guy who sold me this unloader, they're working on making an adjustable deflector there so you could, at the end, tilt it out a little bit more to throw feed out against the wall. It'd be nice to have something like that. We could fill this corner a little bit better. But honestly, we got to be able to get underneath the unloader to level, so I don't want to make it too much fuller. Say we probably had the strongest yields I've seen since I've been growing corn. As far as the, well, this was a variety that doesn't usually yield as much and still gave some tonnage. Got it covered, cleaned off the unloader good. Even though we want to start feeding this soon, I kind of like just covering it. It doesn't take that long. Now we can get out of here. This is going to gas off. It's not going to be very safe to be in here. You can run the blower. Problem is it settles so much. There's a pretty big cavity for the gas to lay in here the next few days, trying to move the door down. I'd rather just stay out of the silo personally, so that's what we're gonna do. Then we'll come up here next week. It won't even be spoiled much. Get rid of the plastic, start feeding out of here. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Harvest is half done already. Pretty happy with how it worked out, even though got some of it a little bit too wet. On the corn we harvested so far, we averaged about 5 tons per acre more than we did last year. Shows what some good rains do for you. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.